Since the earliest of times, human species have tried to separate their feet from the cold floor. In the early days, people have used animal fur to cover the floor of our homes. With the domestication of animals, the need and the possibility for a more sophisticated covering arose. With the shearing of their furs, woven coverings could be made, and thus carpets were born. Before going on about the history, some basic things about what weaving is. To make a carpet you need a warp thread, which is a vertically stretched thread, and a fill thread, which is horizontally intertwined with the vertical ones. The warp and the fill thread make up the foundation of the carpet. The pile is extra threads that give the carpet its design. A loom is also needed. Its basic function is to stretch the warp threads for easier weaving. Depending on how you loop the fill with the warp threads, you have different methods of weaving, which are a story of their own altogether that deserve their own videos for me to do them justice. Before actual evidence of carpets, it is thought that our distant ancestors probably used mats of interlaced stalks and vines, while evidence that sheep and goats were being sheared for their hair and wool, which was then spun and woven into primitive carpets, has been discovered as far back as 6000 BC. Further evidence discovered in 1953 in an Egyptian mural, which are quickly becoming a staple of the channel, shows a hand loom for weaving dated around 1480 BC. However, ancient Egyptians are known to have woven pieces of colored wool fabric and also linen carpets as early as the 3rd millennium BC. The origination and the spread of carpets is a bit of a mystery, however. There are researchers who allude that the art of carpet making was spread by the ancient Egyptians throughout the Middle East and on to Mongolia and China, while others dispute this claim, saying that carpets were originally created somewhere in Central Asia. Be that how it may, the earliest surviving carpet was discovered in the late 40s. Soviet anthropologist Sergei Rudenko, while excavating in Scythian icefield tombs in Siberia, found what is now the earliest surviving carpet, called the Persian Carpet. This amazingly detailed carpet was in almost perfect condition due to it being frozen when found. It measures 183 by 200 cm and has a knot density of approximately 36 knots per square centimeter for a total of 1,250,000 knots in the whole carpet. It is fascinatingly fine and it is higher knot density than most modern carpets. The carpet is framed by a board of what appear to be griffins, followed by another one of 24 fallow deer, and the widest border contains 28 figures of men on horseback and dismounted as well. Dated somewhere around 5th to 4th century BC, its exact origins are unknown, however. Some think it is Scythian or Armenian made, while others think that it was imported from the Persian Empire. This is also Sergei Rudnenko's stance. Currently, the Persian carpet is exhibited in the Hermitage Museum in Russia. With the coming of Islam in the 7th century, rugs were used to pray on and are still used today. These praying rugs are called sajada in Arabic or namazlik in Persian. Its purpose is primarily to cover the ground or floor while praying. These rugs have an R-shaped design called in Islam a mihrab, which during praying it must point towards Mecca. In the early 14th century, the famous Italian explorer and merchant Marco Polo wrote in the account of his travels, "And here they make the most beautiful of silks and carpets in the world, and with the most beautiful colors." He was talking, of course, about the Anatolian region. This region is thought to have produced carpets before the Seljuk conquest. There is a group of carpets known as Anatolian Rugs originating in and around Asia Minor, usually referring to the territories under Ottoman rule. The earliest surviving woven rugs were found in Konya Beyşehir in Turkey and Fostat in Egypt, and these carpets were dated to the 13th century. These carpets from the Anatolian Seljuk period are regarded as the first group of Anatolian rugs. The style of the Seljuk rugs has parallels amongst the architectural decorations of contemporaneous mosques such as those at Divriği, Sivas and Erzurum, and may be related to Byzantine art. Other noteworthy countries that produce fine carpets are the countries that constitute the so-called rug belt. This rug belt stretches from Morocco across North Africa through the Middle East and into Central Asia in northern India. Onwards to a more familiar type of carpets called the Persian carpet. There is evidence from 400 BC that Persian carpets were produced and were sort of a luxury item back then. The ancient Greek author Xenophon in his book Anabasis speaks of a certain Timasion the Dardanian who is known to have some Persian drinking cups and carpets. Xenophon goes further to say that Timasion also drank his health and presented him with a silver bowl and a carpet worth 10 mines, which gives credence to the theory that even back then Persian carpets were luxurious items, possibly due to their fine making. Some consider the Paziri carpet to be of Persian origin, but the uncontested carpet of Persian origins that survive today are the so-called Ardabil carpets that date around the year 5040 AD. These pair of famous carpets are exhibited currently in London and in Los Angeles, called Ardabil after the ancient city located in the Ardabil region in present-day Iran, which was famous for carpet weaving. The size of the carpet is 10.5 by 5.3 meters, while it took 26 million knots to make, making it a pretty fine rug. Up until the 18th century, carpets used to be weaved by hand. An English inventor and clergyman called Edmund Cartwright in the year 1784 invented the first power loom in the world. Over the years, however, his ideas were modified and polished into more reliable automatic looms. With the coming of the Industrial Revolution and the invention of the department store in the middle of the 19th century, which began to shape the purchasing desires of the burgeoning middle classes, things began to move quickly within the carpet industry, with innovation following innovation, most notably the Gripper Oxminster loom that increased the speed of production hugely, which inevitably reduced prices and increased volume sales that were already becoming linked to a housing boom that by the 1880s was increasing twofold every year. In the 30s, as a result of the demand for more bedspreads, the first mechanized tafting machine, attributed to Glen Looper Foundry of Dalton, was developed that would speed up the process even further.
This is your captain speaking. If you look out of the window on your right, you can see the vapor trail of a jet above us.
Imagine a carpet yarn like this, made up of dozens of endless nylon strands, wavy strands textured by a patented ChemStrand process. Not like ordinary nylon spun of short staple fibers, a continuous filament yarn that brings more strength and beauty to a carpet than you'd dream of. When the carpet pile is made of 100% Cumuloft nylon, there are no loose ends, nothing to pill or fuzz or shed.
In the 50s, wall-to-wall carpeting, which was once a luxury, finally became affordable. Nylon yarns were used tufted into woven grid backings. These carpets were then installed by stretching the tufted backing onto wood strips adjacent to walls, held firmly in place with tacks. Today, tufted products are more than 90% of the total, followed by less than 2% that are woven and 6.7% for all the other methods, such as knitted, braided, hooked, and needle-punched. The global carpets and rug market is expected to grow in the coming years even further. By the year 2023, this industry will be worth $107.9 billion. In the present day, there are so many carpet choices to make, and carpets are making a comeback with the newer generations. The history of the carpets won't end here and is in fact far from over. I think that as long as there are cold floors in the morning, we won't get cold feet from carpet usage anytime soon.